Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday morning, or whatever day you're watching. My name is Julie. I am the owner and founder of Lady Vialtai's Light Healing. You can watch me on my Facebook group, which is where I am recording this, or you can also watch these on my YouTube channel. It's also just called Lady Vialtai's Light Healing, so it should be super easy to find. All right. Hope everybody had a really good weekend. I took a long weekend. Just going to pop on and invite some people here. I don't have my glasses on. The glare drives me bonkers off my glasses, but I can't see anything. All right, it says I can't find anybody. Let me try that again. Okay, apparently there's nobody in my group. Don't think that's accurate, but one more time, third time's charm. There we go. All right, so I'm going to pop in and invite everybody really quick. Today we're going to be talking about pendulums. I love my pendulum, and I use it more than for myself. I use it way more than any oracle cards. But everybody seems to be going through this thing right now where it's like, oh, I want my card read. I want a card read. I want a card pulled. Can you pull a card for me? And it's like, you know, that's really great, and I don't mind doing it. I'll pull a card for anybody anytime. But to me, the card is kind of just, it's usually a very broad answer to questions. And sometimes people look at me after I tell them their card and they're like, okay, I don't really know what that means, or I guess I'll have to think about that, or which is fine, because sometimes the meanings of the cards actually, for myself, it'll be like months later and I'm like, oh, I get it now. And you know, so I'm not saying the cards are not good. I'm not saying the cards are not accurate. I'm just saying that a card doesn't really give you a very, if you're looking for a very decisive answer, you're really not going to get that from the card. And you're also going to be getting it through whoever your card reader is. And that's why I always tell people when I pull a card from me, if you have a question or you're looking, you know, for advice or something like that, don't tell me what it is, because I don't want my own personal views or opinions or, you know, just trying to be helpful kind of things to come through for that. So I want to, you know, just try to read from the card and not have my own opinions or views come into play. So that's why I always tell people, if you have a question, don't tell me what the question is, because I don't honestly know if I could answer and keep my own opinion out of it. I would try very hard, but you know, so I like to just, okay, I think I got everybody. But anyway, the cards, you know, we can pull the cards, which we will actually pull a gemstone card right now. But like I said, when you pull a card, you don't get very decisive answers. And when I'm looking at this, sorry, I'm trying to talk in two cards at the same time. This is the card we pulled last week on Tuesday. So when we pull cards, you get very, you know, generalized answers that can be influenced by the reader. Where when you're doing pendulum work, you get yes, no answers to your questions. And you can, you know, I've asked it tons of questions. All right, just putting this one back in the deck. And not pulling for anybody particular, just going to pull a card just to help us learn. Like I said, I will pull a card for anybody anytime. Obviously not while I'm at work, But if you message me and want a card, I will, pull for you when I get home. Sorry, I have my glasses on, so it's going to take a second. All right, so we have Almondine Garnet. You really can't see that that's red, because for some reason I think it's the light is pulling it in blue. But I'll try to get a picture of it. So it's for love, nurturing, protection, and wisdom. It is red, so we know it's going to go to your root chakra. Almondine Garnet is a seer's stone that offers you intuitive guidance, incredible strength, deep protection, and loving calm. You have pulled this card to remind you of your Latin power as you ready yourself for battle. Meditate with Almondine Garnet and I'm not sure I'm saying that right, Almondine Garnet to gather and harness the warrior strength, wisdom, and the love that already resides within you. And I do have a piece of garnet. I think it's up in the bowl somewhere. But I will get a picture of this and get it up on the website. And sorry, so I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see who's joining us. Morning, Pam. I put my glasses on to see who's watching. All right, so I should have smudged and lit our candle before we pulled the card. Let's do that now. You know what? We're going to use our charcoal disc today instead of our smudge bundle. So, a bit of the old ash over here. Change things up just a tad bit. So we're going to take our charcoal disc and light it. You'll know it's lit when you start to hear the popping, crackling. And this one's just doesn't want to go today. Oh, it's going. See the little crackles in it? I have to put it down before I burn my fingers. While that's finishing going, we will light our candle. Now, we're not really like doing ceremony work or anything when I do these, but I do just kind of like to go through some of the motions of cleaning the space, for me and for you guys. I think it's important to do that. All right, so our charcoal disc is going. So I have here, off topic here a little bit this morning, what is, I guess, called the 8-ball jar. So this is anytime I'm working with an herb, depending on what it is, and there's leftover. It falls on the table, is on my mat here, and I don't want to put it back into the container it came from. So this kind of just has like all kinds of little everything in there. But it's mostly right now sage leaves, because I have tons of sage leaves. So we're just going to put a couple of those on the disc over there. And they're going to do their own little smudging work. All right. So you may see the smoke just kind of coming by the camera. All right, so we pulled our card, lit our candles, our sage is going in our little charcoal burner there. Did our Palo Santos real quick. So back to pendulums. So I can't believe that nobody has seen one, but if you have not, that's basically what it's going to look like. It's usually a chain. Usually has a crystal gemstone at the top there where you'd hold it. And then it has the pendulum at the bottom. You can get them. Somebody had asked if you could get them in brass. You can get them in brass and copper and other things. Basically, it just needs to be something that is weighted and balanced. So that's kind of what the point is balancing that. But it doesn't have to be made out of a gemstone. That's just typically what they're made out of. But if not, usually it's some sort of metal. So I know a gentleman here where I live, actually next town up, that he makes brass ones. So if anybody was interested in having one made, I can give you his information. But you can buy them on Sage Goddess. I have two. One of them I bought from Sage Goddess, one of them I did not. This one, I was at a little metaphysical fair in Berlin, and I walked in, and there was a guy that was had a row of them. I don't know, there was 10 or 12 of them. And I walked over and picked up this one and said, this one's mine. I just knew it was mine. I had been wanting a pendulum for about, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe more months, and hadn't bought one because I didn't want to buy one just to buy one. And when I walked in, I just walked right over to this one and picked it up, and I said, this one's mine. So, yeah, so that's basically, this one is black tourmaline, and my other one is clear quartz. And my other one stays in my pocketbook, and I take it with me. So if I'm ever in a situation where I need an answer, it's with me. I have it in my pocketbook. This one always stays here on my desk, my table. Little bit of quick history. I'm not going to get overly in depth in it. The first known use of pendulums was back right around the breaking of year 100. So between the year 78 and the year of 139, somewhere in that time, there was a gentleman that was using it as a mathematical timekeeping kind of tool. It wasn't used as a metaphysical tool. It was used as like scientific and timekeeping. That was more of the round ball pendulum, though, that like was used for keeping time. I'm sure you've seen them in therapist's office. If you haven't been in a therapist's office, you've seen one in a therapist's office on TV. They always have the two balls that click together, things like that. So they were used in that way, more of a scientific and a mathematical purpose than a metaphysical purpose, but that's how old they are. It really wasn't recorded as a use for metaphysicals until about the 1500s, is what my research shows. That could be incorrect. I don't know. I didn't go to multiple sources. But, back in about the 1500s was when there were recordings of the pendulum being used as a metaphysical tool. So it very well could have been used before that, and we just don't have any written recordings of it. So that's kind of that little bit of history. This was used in kind of a replacement for the Ouija board. We all grew up knowing the Ouija board to be a scary tool. Our parents told us, or somebody told us, teachers told us that was a way that the devil was going to come into your home, or evil spirits were going to come into your home because you invited them in. I personally don't believe in any of that. But I don't like the Ouija board because it can be too easily manipulated. There's always the question on the Ouija board, is somebody else pushing it? Is somebody else moving it? So I don't like that, because I'm one to question things and suspect and be like, did you move that? Because I think you moved that. So I don't feel that it's always very, very authentic in that way. Yes, I could use a Ouija board by myself, but I don't need to. I have a pendulum, and a pendulum to me gives me more accurate readings than a Ouija board. All right, so the the pendulum, stuck in my head now, I guess. The pendulum can be used in a ton of different ways. The most common way is to just ask it questions. And I'll go over in a minute some of the ways to do that. I asked if anybody had any questions they wanted to ask, and nobody gave me any. But I really think it's just because people really don't understand really how it works. So, and I know there's a bunch of people in another group that I'm in that, we've talked about pendulums, and they're like, yeah, I have one, but I'm just really not sure how to use it, or I never thought to use it that way, things like that. So it seemed like there was something that was some interest in. So, and like I said, I love my pendulums, so definitely wanted to go over it. But the most typical is to ask it questions. You can ask it questions, all different kinds of questions: love, healing, prosperity. Which way should I go? Do I take the new job? Do I not take the new job? Do I go left? Do I go right? Do I have a hamburger? Do I have a hot dog? I mean, you can literally ask it anything, and it's going to give you a yes or no answer. They are people out there that use it for, if you're looking to go, say, the first thing I thought of was there's a class coming up, and you want to take a class, and there's one on Thursday night, and there's one on Friday night, and you don't know which one to go. You could ask the pendulum. Some people would lay out a calendar and use the pendulum that way, and I don't use it that way, because to me it's just easier to ask it yes no questions. You don't need a calendar. You don't need anything else to use this other than you and this. So you can use a calendar if you want. You can use a pamphlet. You can use a menu if you want. There's all kinds of different things that you can use with it if you want to, but you don't have to. All you need is you and the pendulum and a question. You need a question. It can also be used for dowsing, so you could find water with it. You can, like I said, ask it about dates. If you're traveling, you can say, should I travel here on this day, or should I travel here on this day? All kinds of different things. It can also be used if you are kind of like scrying over a person. It can pick up illnesses and blockages. I have not worked with that yet. Just haven't really had the opportunity to do it, to try it. So maybe someday I will give that a shot. But as of right now, I haven't really had an opportunity to do that. But mostly I just love to ask it questions. I ask it like all kinds of questions, and I will sit here with a pen and a notebook and think up of all kinds of questions and ask it, and get my answers. So the other thing you can use is if I can find it now. I was going to dig it out before I started, and I didn't. I forgot. Yeah, it's right here. I don't use it. Can you tell? It's stuck in the notebook. When I first got the pendulum, everybody's like, oh, you need a board. And I didn't want to buy a board. So I took a picture off the internet and printed it, and got a little board that says yes and no. And you're supposed to, put this on the table and use the pendulum that way. But again, that didn't really resonate with me, but you know, if that's the way you want to use it, you certainly can. I will show you how I do it, because a lot of people are like, I don't even really know how to use it. So what I do is I'll try to get it so you can see it, is I just kind of cup it in my hand, not real tight, you know, just kind of cup it in my hand and hold it by the very ball up at the top. And the first thing you would do, actually, you know, by saying the first thing that you would do, I just want to go back to the tips of buying a crystal. Once you've bought your crystal, bring it home, smudge it, charge it, and then just kind of sit with it and, you know, hold it. You could breathe on it, just kind of work with the crystal piece of it, and kind of make it match your energy stream. Okay, so, but we've talked about that, what you do when you buy a crystal. So that's the first thing you should do. When you're ready to work with your pendulum, like I said, you cup it in my hand, and I just kind of put my hands together like this. And every time I use the pendulum, I always ask it, the first two questions are always the same. First one is, show me my yes. And my yes is always, so far, been back and forth. And then I just drop it back down, kind of cup it again, and then I'll say, show me my no. Raise it up. And my no is, so far, always been a circle. That has, every time I've used it, that's the way it's gone for me. I know people that it's the other way around. Circle is their yes, back and forth is their no. So always ask it for that. Why is it different for different people? I honestly couldn't tell you. The reason I ask it every single time is my thought on it, my guess on it, is that it may be whoever the guidance is coming from. Usually it's some sort of, you know, your spirit guide. I've asked about my spirit guides a couple of times. I haven't really figured out who they all are, but I know my gram is one of them. And so we don't always have the same spirit guide answering our questions. So that's why I like to ask it every single time I start, just because maybe one of the spirit guides will answer in a different form than I'm used to. So I just verify. It takes 2 seconds to ask it to show you your yes and to ask it to show you your no. And like I said, and then you know you're getting the correct answers. So that is the first thing you should do, is ask it to do that. Oh, I forgot to say too that it can help you find lost things. So if you've lost something, and say for some reason you know it's in the house and you can't find it, you can ask it to show you where it is. It just gets a little tricky because, like, if you're standing in the middle of the room and it's going backwards and forwards, you may not know if it's in front of you or behind you. So I recommend, like, starting maybe towards a wall and asking it to show you which direction to go. And you can find lost objects that way. So I forgot to tell you that. So let's see here. I just want to make sure I can ask questions, courses of actions to take, which again comes in question form. You can use it to sense illnesses, blacknesses, pick dates, lost objects, dowsing. Yeah, and so pretty much I've gone over the history part of it. And like I said, the biggest thing I like is that it really can just be used anywhere. You can use it in a restaurant. You can use it in your car. You can use it in your house. You know, you don't need to have an altar or anything. You can just be sitting on the couch asking it. I've read things that say, you should treat it all very ceremonial, and you should, open a circle and smudge and light your candle and call in all the, the north, south, east, and the guardians and all of that. And you can certainly do that. Some people feel very, very strongly that whenever they do any kind of energy work or spiritual work, that should be done. I don't necessarily feel that way. I feel pretty safe in my spiritual work and my energy work. I don't feel like I have a lot of negativity around me. Usually if there's negativity around me, it's in a human form, not in any other form. That is the only time I have experienced a massive negative energy is actually in human form, and not any kind of spiritual or energy form. So I don't do that. And again, there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. Sometimes ceremonial work can just be very beautiful. It can be relaxing. When I do use my cards, I like to smudge them. But that's because I like to clear out the energy from the previous readings. So I just like to start with a fresh deck when I do that. But my pendulum is a little less formal, I guess, for me. I feel like I could just kind of take it out of my pocket anywhere I am and just ask it a question, and I'll get an answer. I don't feel like it needs to be a big ceremonial thing. I'm not going to, in a restaurant, whip out a bundle of sage and start smudging the place and all the things. But again, if anybody that's doing that, I'm not saying it's wrong. It just doesn't resonate with me. But it can be just a very beautiful, relaxing thing too. I like to, when I smudge in the morning, I like to do that to clear out any energies from the room. But I just like my candle going. I like the fire. I like the smell. It just makes me, more in the moment, I guess, is what I'm saying. So anyway, one of the things, like I said, I put a post out and asked if anybody had any questions, and nobody posted any questions for me. And if you did and I didn't see them, I will address them as soon as I see them. But somebody did come on and say, she definitely needs some guidance in talking with my cup in front of my mouth again. Sorry. She definitely needed some guidance in how to be asking questions. And I think, again, that's the biggest reason people, or one of the biggest reasons people don't use a pendulum, is because they really just don't understand how it works. I have a friend of mine who says she has a little boy that visits her, and not a human little boy. And I said, well, I can ask the pendulum for you if you want. And she didn't really understand. She didn't really know what that meant. She didn't really know how to do that. And so if she still wants to do that, I will definitely do that, help her with that, with the questioning. But for right now, I just wrote down some very generic questions that are not really linked to anyone as far as I know. So one of the questions I wrote down was, somebody may come and say, I want to know if I will get a promotion. So that's kind of phrased weird. I want to know if I will get a promotion. So it's kind of, because with the pendulum, you have to be as clear and accurate as a question as you can. And it needs to be stated in a yes-no form. So how I would kind of rephrase that question is, will I get the promotion at work? I'm not going to actually do it because it's not a real question. So will I get the promotion at work? And you would get a yes or no. So if you get a no, that's kind of your answers. That's no. If you got a yes, then you maybe continue on with some more questions. You could say, will the new promotion come with a raise? Yes or no? Will the new promotion come with a new office or a new desk or a new cubicle or whatever your workstation is? And you get a yes or a no. You couldn't ask it when. When will I get a new raise? When will I get a new promotion? When will I get a new office? Because it's not going to work that way. You could pull out a calendar and scry over the calendar, but you could be doing that forever, month after month after month after month. Because when you ask the pendulum a question, will I get a promotion at work? And it says yes. That doesn't mean you're going to get the promotion that's coming right now. You will, in your time at your job, get a promotion. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the promotion that you're up for right now. So you have to be, like I said, very accurate and clear with your pendulum. Will I get a raise? Yes. But will you get a raise with this promotion? Could be a different answer. Will you get a raise with a promotion that's not this promotion? You know what I mean? So you have to kind of ask it a generalized question, and then depending on your answer, yes or no, then you can continue your questioning down from there. So instead of saying, when will I get a promotion, you would rephrase it, will I get a promotion this month? And if it says yes, then you can say, will I get a promotion next week? No. Will I get a promotion the week after? No. Will I get a promotion the third week of the month? Yes. So you break it down like that. If you said, will I get a promotion this month? And it was no, then you would, will I get a promotion next month? No. Will I get a promotion next month? No. Will I get a promotion next month? You know, whatever, June, July, August. No, 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 no. And so now you're into January of the next year. And then you might want to just go from there. Will I get a promotion in the year 2020? No. Will I get a promotion in the year 2021? Yes. All right. Will I get a promotion in January of 2021? No. Will I get a promotion in February of 2021? Yes. So you have to kind of start with a broader question. Will I get a promotion? Yes. When will I get a promotion? You can't ask it that. So then you have to say, will I get a promotion this year? Yes or no? And then from there, you have to continue your questioning. So if you said, like I said, you could start, will I get a raise this year? Will I get a promotion this year? Yes. Will I get a promotion this month? No. Will I get a promotion in August? No. Will I get a promotion in September? Yes. Will I get a promotion in the first week of September? No. Will I get a promotion in the second week of September? Yes. So you have to constantly be rephrasing your questions. So it does take a little bit of practice. And, you know, the best thing to do is just sit down and play with it and use it. And, you know, see what the questions you've got. So, let's see here. Will I go to work today? Yes. Back and forth is yes. Will I be busy at work today? Yes. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head some questions that would be something I could break down for you. Okay. So one of the ones I just did was I did some past life work. All right. So is this life my first life? No. Okay. Is this life my second life? And that's the same. I grab my book, but I'd have to stand up. I can grab my book because what I do is I keep a notebook, like I said, and I record my question, whatever my question was, and then I record the answer. And then from there, I write down the answers so that I have a journal of basically the things that I've asked it. For example, I had asked it before if this was my first life, and it said no. And I said, is this my second life? And it said yes. And I said, have I had a third life? And it was no. And so I said, is this my second life? And it said yes. And I said, or have I lived a second life? I forget how I phrased it, because how you phrase it is important. If you say, is this my second life? And you get a yes, then you really don't need to ask any more questions. But you could, if you're phrasing it, have I lived a second life? Yes. But that means you could also, have I lived a third life? Yes. Have I lived a fourth life? Yes. Have I lived a fifth life? No. So it's really all in the way you ask the question. For example, will I find my soulmate? And if it says yes, then you kind of have to, if it says no, I'm sorry, that's sad. But if it says yes, then from there, again, you could, will I find my soulmate this year? Will I find my soulmate next year? Will I find my soulmate the year after? But some of the questions I asked, I should have grabbed my notebook to read them for you. And I apologize, I didn't. So I'm trying to think of them off the top of my head. I asked if it was my first life, and it said no. I asked if it was my second life. It said yes. I asked if I'd lived a third life. It said no. And then a lot of times I use my pendulum after I do some sort of meditation or journey work. For me, when I do meditations and journey work, I've seen people who come out of journey work and they're like, I was very strict. It was very guided. I know I'm supposed to do this, 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 and this. My spirit guides told me exactly what to do. It doesn't work like that for me. I usually get glimpses of pictures. The best way I can explain it is we've all seen on TV when they tie the guy to the chair and they're making him watch like the pictures. Sorry, spam. Spam call. When the pictures are flashing in front of them. But mine are not torturous and I'm not tied to a chair. But that's kind of how it is. It's like a flash of a picture and they come in and they're gone. They're not necessarily like a rapid fire, but sometimes they are. One of my last journeys I did, I got a visual of a bull, a snake, a rose, a tunnel of light, and a fern. Like, okay, what the hell am I supposed to do with that, right? So just trying to give you some example here of how I use my pendulum in different ways. So I started out with Google. I Googled meanings of, the meaning of seeing a bull. And then from there, I took the pendulum and, asked it, is this meaning the meaning that I should be working with? And it's going to give me a yes or no. So like the snake was a sign of transformation. And so I asked it, is that the message that I'm supposed to be working with is the sign of the transformation? And it'll give me a yes or no. And then it kind of helps me make sense of the visuals that I got. So where other people come out of journey or come out of meditation and they have received their message however it has come to them, and they come out and they're like, I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. That's great. I am kind of jealous But it doesn't work that way for me. I get very quick glimpses of images, and sometimes they seem very random. But when I was doing a past life one, I got some very distinct images. I got an image of a woman, and I couldn't really see any of her surroundings. It was a woman with very long red hair. She had it draped over her shoulder, kind of like this, but it was really long. And she was holding a baby, and she was wearing a like light green, like long sleeve nightgown, like an older looking, like, something you'd see in the movies from, like the fantasy nights and stuff like that. It was similar to that. And I said, was that my first mother? And the pendulum told me yes. And then I asked if I was a girl, and it said no. So obviously I said, was I a boy? Yes. I think I said female or male. But one of the other things I saw was a helmet. And then I saw rows of men standing together with swords and spears and stuff. And so I broke that down into all different things. But where I actually started was trying to find a visual on Google of the helmet that I saw. And that actually took a lot of time to find a visual of the helmet that I saw. So I kind of could narrow that down to a time frame once I finally found it. And then I could ask the pendulum a bunch of questions and confirm if I was headed in the right direction with this, if this was the right time frame, all those things. So it has really, really helped me make sense of a lot of my meditation and journey work. So you can definitely use it that way. Well, like I said, you can just use it. Should I have a burger for lunch? No. Should I have a salad for lunch? Yes. Not always the answer you want. But yeah, you can use it in a lot of different ways. For example, I won't go into names or specific questions or anything, but the friend of mine who has a little boy that visits her, I could ask if it was a relative from this life, and it may tell me yes or no. If it says no, I could ask it if it was a relative from a past life, one of her past lives, and it would tell me yes or no. And if it said no, like it's not a relative of hers now, and it's not a relative of hers of a past life, I could ask if it was there to send to deliver a message, or if it said no, I could ask, is he there to get a message? Because sometimes they're there to get instead of to give the message. They're there to get a message, and kind of break it down and find out why this little boy is visiting. I gotta go to work, so I can't go on forever. I would love to, but I don't believe in the whole spirits are trapped in houses. I don't believe that spirits are trapped here on earth. Sorry, I got a hair on me. I don't believe that they get lost, they get trapped. I don't really believe in any of that. I really believe that your energy, your soul, when you pass, is just released from the body, and it can kind of go wherever it wants to go. I don't believe it's trapped. I don't think like it's trapped in a house or it's trapped in a time loop. We've all seen the movies where it was a very traumatic death, and they're living it over and over and over. I don't believe in any of that. Once this body dies, our energy leaves and can go back to source, and then from source, that's a whole debate of how we come back. Do we choose to come back? Are we picked to come back? and I think it's a little bit of both. So sometimes I think we are picked to come back for certain reasons, and other times I think we've stepped forward and be like, listen, you're going to need all of us right now, which is really what I think is happening right now, because so many people are getting involved in the metaphysical work, and the crystals and the cards and ceremony and all of that. And I don't think it's another crazy trend thing. You could chalk it up to that if you really want to, but my opinion is that our planet is being, for lack of better terms, is being flooded with light workers. And I don't think it's happened on accident. I think that, it was kind of like, I need how many? I need a couple 100,000 light workers on this planet right now, and I'm going to take you, and you. And then I think there was a bunch of us that said, I'm going too, and so I think our planet is really, really desperate for some healing, and I think in this case there was a bunch of us that just said, if we're doing this, I'm going. I'm not sitting out this one. I'm not sitting on the sidelines. I'm put me in coach, so to speak. So I think that is really why there's just so much of this coming out. And I think in our own way, we're all gifted and we're all some sort of light worker. But that's a whole nother conversation. So, but you can ask your pendulum all those questions, all those things, and get all those answers if you want them. I do really advise, be aware of your questions when you're asking them. For example, I used the one on, am I going to get a promotion? And, that's a pretty, it's an important one. You want to know if you're going to get a promotion. You want to know if you're going to get a raise. Those are important questions. And you can certainly ask it very important questions, and you can ask it very everyday muggle kinds of questions. But just be aware, sometimes the questions you ask may not be questions you really want the answers to. For example, if you said, is my marriage going to last forever? And it says no. And then is our marriage going to last? Obviously, because forever is not a legitimate time frame for a marriage. And so you said, then you asked, is our marriage going to last until one of us passes, till one of us dies? And if it says no, then you could go down a rabbit hole of asking questions that you really might not want the answers to. And then it's going to put you in a mind frame of, my marriage isn't going to last. Why isn't my marriage? Then you could be, is he going to cheat? Am I going to cheat? All these things that you really might not want the answers to. And maybe your relationship was going to be perfectly wonderful for another 30 years. And now you've pretty much set it on the road to ending sooner than that because of the questions you asked. Because now you're always looking for something that's going to happen, or you're always looking for him to cheat or her to cheat, or things like that. So just be aware, sometimes there's questions you just might not want to know the answer to. I am not going to ask it when I am going to die. I'm not going to ask it when my husband is going to die or my children are going to die. I'm not going to ask it if my relationship is going to last forever, because I'm not going to put that kind of pressure on myself or him, with that kind of in the back of my mind, always wondering what's going to happen there. if you want to know, you have every right to it, if that's what you want to know. I just advise against it. Some things are just better left to play out and be what they are. But certainly, you know, if you suspect your significant other is cheating, you can use it and ask those kind of questions. But I just advise against it. You know, sometimes knowing too much is just knowing too much. So, all right. With that, I have to go to work because I have to have a job that helps me pay for all my habits here of all the things I buy. I had a couple of gemstones that did come. I'll show you this real quick. For being in Soul Shift, occasionally we just get free gifts because we're awesome. And so this is a free gift. Oops, doesn't want to go the right way here. This is a free gift that I got, a little butterfly necklace. You know, it's called Soul Shift, and it's all about transformation and becoming a new you. And so the butterfly is kind of a really good symbol, a visual representation of remembering that we might go in an ugly caterpillar and come out a beautiful butterfly. But you could go in a really cute caterpillar and come out as a beautiful butterfly. So, you know, even if you think, I'm a caterpillar, I'm pretty darn cute. And I don't really need to change. I'm a cute caterpillar. You still could come out as a beautiful butterfly. So, all right. So I'll show you that today. But other than that, everything else is pretty much going to have to wait. So I will see you guys all on Thursday. I don't have a topic picked yet. So if there's something that you guys want to talk about, let me know. Put it in the comments. Send me a private message. As always, if you want a card pull, you can put it in the comments. Send me a private message. And the same with the pendulum. Now that you guys are a little bit more familiar with how it works. And even if you're still not really totally clear, because it's kind of hard to put it all in like a 40 to 50 minute session here. If you're really not still sure, just tell me what your question is and I can help you rephrase it into a form and help you try to kind of pick the questions to go from there. If you don't have a pendulum, I'll ask the questions for you. If you do have a pendulum, my suggestion is just to really practice. But again, it's really important to be, you know, you could start with an opened question, but to narrow it down into a very detailed question, because you can, like I said, you can say, will I get a promotion? And the pendulum tells you yes. And you're all excited because you're going to get a promotion. You applied for a promotion, you put in for a promotion, and you think you're going to get it. And then you don't. And then you're like, well, the pendulum was wrong, or the pendulum lied. But you didn't give the pendulum a time. So will you get a promotion? Yes. That promotion could be in 20 years. So you just really have to, you know, make sure your questions are as detailed and accurate as you can. And you don't need to make it a question that is like 5 miles long. Start, like, that's why I said start with a broader question. Will I get a raise? Will I get a promotion? Yes. Will I get a promotion this year? No. Will I get a promotion next year? Will I get a promotion in 2021? And then from there, you break the question down into smaller yes or no's for the pendulum. So if anybody needs more help, I'm certainly willing to give it. I will help any way I can for anybody that needs it, whether it's natal charts, card pulls, pendulum work, just some direction on crystals to buy. If you're